Bro, oh my god!
Now I have to deal with Burst Oki. It hit my jump. I died.
No, wait. Oh my god. That is so stupid, bro. Holy shit.
I lost the game for hitting him!
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing good this year. Fresh with Discord and drama on all sides. And today I kind of want to talk about banning in the FGC and what makes a character worth banning. This is because there's been a lot of talk about banning Happy Chaos, a character who is not only unique, but also uniquely strong in their own right. They have a mechanic that allows them to shoot a gun at any point in time. Anytime in their block screen, they can shoot this gun, creating strong block screens that lock you in place and apply heavy mix-ups. Whenever those mix-ups land, they get almost all of their resources back and also put you into another situation where they get to do the mix-up again. They do tons of damage, have high points of conversionability anywhere on the screen, and also tend to build more meter than you do. Some of the only drawbacks to the character is that they build you burst faster than most other characters, and that they don't have a Dragon Punch. But other than that, their defensive options are already very strong along with their mix-up game. It's not uncommon that you see a match go where the Happy Chaos touches you once and then you're put in the blender for the rest of the match. And even if you do manage to land a hit, by the time you touch them, they'll have their burst back and knock you full screen, where they also happen to have really good zoning tools and good buttons to defend their space. Not only that, but there is a mechanic that is really controversial for Happy Chaos in general. Because Happy Chaos can pull the gun out at any time, there's a random chance, that the reticle might be applied to you and locked on instantly. This means that if the Happy Chaos does happen to make a mistake and you were to punish them for it, instead of being punished, the reticle will be on you and their next shot will hit. Ultimately, this gives the Happy Chaos a random chance to erase any mistakes that he could possibly make. This combination of strong offense, strong defense, as well as good zoning and neutral control often lead to them being put in their own spot in the tier list and drawing the disdain of most of the community for it. Banning a character is a heavy subject in video games. Even if a character is particularly strong, or if a character can sometimes break the rules of the game, it can be difficult for the TOs and community to point at any one character and say, no more. One of the major problems with that is that people live and die by their character. Players love for their characters an entire archetype, in my opinion, for types of players. Sort of like Magic the Gathering, where you have Spikes, Timmies, and Johnnies. That is, players who are obsessed with competition and meta to the point of picking and choosing only what fits the current tournament landscape. Players who simply want to play what they think is cool and fun, and lastly, players who are only concerned with the playstyle of their character, and the strength is irrelevant as long as the function is strong and fulfilled. Well, usually you don't exactly apply competitiveness to the idea of Timmies and Johnnies in Magic. In fighting games, I think they actually still apply to people who do try and play their best in competitive scenes, specifically because the attachment to characters and their playstyle and archetype is much higher than other scenes. The commitment to learning one character is stronger because the depth and complexity of those characters are higher than, say, a Magic the Gathering card. So ultimately, if you banned a character, the Spikes of the tournament scene would be happy to be rid of a top tier and willing to learn another character. Banning that character does a huge number to both the Timmies and Johnnies, though, who see their character as either fulfilling a specific function they find enjoyable, or fulfilling a design and gameplay aesthetic they think is interesting, which is important. I personally love Soul, and it doesn't feel great when he's not the best character, but that's the character I play most often because I find his gameplay functions fun. I find his aesthetic cool, and I find everything about him engaging and rewarding. Of course, except for the differences in strength, which can be overcome. And you don't want to take those aspects away from somebody for no reason. Doing so will inevitably draw ire from these players, and skepticism from the entire scene for your particular tournament. Even if the community at large agrees with the ban, you are isolating a large number of players and removing them from the competitive pools forcibly. If you don't want to face heavy backlash, then you have to make sure that your reasons for a competitive ban are airtight. So, what does make a character worth banning? In my opinion, there's only a few things that do make a character worth banning. 1. Removal of all interaction from your opponent. To me, this means that no matter what character you pick or what the situation is, something about the character allows you to remove the competitive aspect of a game in a way that's super harmful. For example, if the character could have full screen hit normals that lead to infinites and you can't escape from them, that might be an example of something that's worth doing away with. This can also be true if, for example, the interaction in question is some kind of game-breaking bug that prevents the game from being played as intended. 2. The competitive game is streamlined in such a way that there is little to no choice but to play the character in question. This is an extremely high bar to clear, as in my opinion it would require two things at least to be true. 1, that the character in question has almost nothing but extremely one-sided winning matchups and no equals in the game. 2, that most, if not all, competitive players have swapped, turning every tournament into something which is abysmal to watch. The only thing I can think of for this would be like Meta Knight in Smash, or for example Akuma in Street Fighter 2, who broke the game in such a way that it forced a competitive ban across all US tourneys. This is because he was never intended really to be balanced. It would be like allowing players to fight with unlimited characters in Blaze Blue versus normal characters. Characters which, for every intent and purpose, is just for fun. They were unlockable modes that allowed you just to play with friends in a casual setting. 3. The character creates a toxic gameplay environment for the organization of tournaments. A prime example of this is Labco21, who is not only very good in their own right, but reduced the total output of damage in the match, causing matches to linger on and go over time. Coupled with the fact that almost every competitive player had also decided to play her, the tournament scene was suffering from inflated set timers, causing grand finals and other events to go over their allotted time. 4. There is something that prevents everyone from accessing the character equally. This one is pretty specific, but for example, Soul Calibur, where games had various platform-based exclusives, a ban is justified only in the sense that no one else gets to play the character. It gives a competitive edge to PS4 or whatever platform of choice for the game stage is. Another good example is Kratos in MK9, who was also only on PlayStation 3 and was banned for the same reason. 5. There will be no fixes to extremely lopsided balance decisions due to the game no longer being in live service. This almost goes with number 2 and is also somewhat subjective, but another reason that Labco21 was banned was because Bandai Namco would not be coming to save us with a balance patch. There would be no more balance patches to fix the character or their interactions, so it sort of forced the hand of TOs to say, we can't let this character play anymore, because not only are they streamlining the game in a way that is not good for spectators and players, it's also never going to be fixed. So, having examined those criteria, does Happy Chaos meet them? Almost definitively, while Happy Chaos is an incredibly strong character, he meets none of the real criteria I would consider for a character ban. Ultimately, the character is a competitive nuisance, with extremely strong matchup spreads, a uniquely frustrating gameplay mechanic, and a repetitive gameplay loop that nobody likes, but he is not so broken that you can't interact with him. In fact, there's often chances to interact, it's simply that the RPS is not in your favor, and it can be difficult to discern what the right action to take is.
This gets a little murky when you're talking about the RNG whiff shot. That is, when Happy Chaos would normally be punished, but instead, the RNG of their reticle happens to hit you during your punish. This might seem like it removes a lot of interaction, but it's hard to say that it accounts for the majority or even a good portion of the reason why you lost a match against Happy Chaos. And next,
he does not streamline the game in such a way that everybody must play him or be left behind. In fact, the idea that Happy Chaos is that strong to begin with is controversial in Japan.
Well, admittedly, it's as funny as it is frustrating for an American getting their ass kicked by the character.
They actually believe that Soul Bad Guy is one of the undisputed best characters in the game, where we place him much lower here. He does not significantly impact tournament play or cause stress to the organizational aspect of tournament brackets either. Nor is he inaccessible, other than the DLC tag, which is a separate problem with game development companies not allowing training mode with DLC characters. And finally, there will be patches. This character may not get touched in spring, as he wasn't in December, but there is opportunities for Arc System Works to level the playing field, whether that's through direct nerfs or buffs to characters that are weak to his game plan. So while it may feel like the hurdle right now is incredibly tough to get around, or that the character is impossible to navigate, there is time to not only learn the character matchup, but also for Arc System Works to balance the game in general.
At any rate, we can't really ban Happy Chaos for any of those reasons, but we could ban him because I don't like him. Just kidding. If you guys liked the video, let me know in the comments. Give me a few examples of characters that you think should have gotten the ban hammer, but didn't end up getting it. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you later.